Session 1. He was painfully thin and taller than I expected. I remained standing as the guards led the gaunt, monocled figure into the interview cell. The Joker's appearance is positively shocking at close range. I'd seen his face before, who hasn't? But to find myself standing across a small table from the man, to have his eyes scan me from a distance of only 3 feet, as if I were some kind of insect, was a jolt. The smile. That was what did it. We've all seen that soulless, mirthless grin countless times, shining at us in black and white from the front page of the Gotham Gazette, or in never quite true color from the TV screen during the evening news. But nothing in the media prepares you for the original. The smile. The corners of the mouth are drawn up and back, fully halfway into the cheeks, and the teeth, so big and white, bigger than Morton Downey Jr.'s. But they're not as white as his skin, so pale. Not so much in the bleached albino sense, more like a white stain. I could not help feeling, but with a little cold cream on a cloth, I could wipe it off. But I knew that had been tried many times. The seaweed green of his hair and fingernails were the garnish on this bizarre human concoction. During my 5 years of psychiatric residency in New York's Downstate Medical Center and in various maximum security facilities about the country, I have encountered mental illness in its most violent manifestations. But I cannot remember actually feeling madness as I did in my first seconds in the room with the Joker. Nothing in the media prepared me for the power of this man. In fact, the never-ending stream of stories about him in the press only serves to trivialize him. We've become used to the Joker. We've become almost comfortable with him. We all know that he is a career criminal and a multiple murderer to boot, yet his face is so familiar that he has become part of the background noise of Gotham. His latest outrage does not stir us to as much anger as it would had it been perpetrated by a stranger. Better the devil you know. My task was to get to know this devil. With 2 armed guards watching closely, I thrust my hand across the table. "I'm Dr. Lewis, Mr. Joker. Call me Joker," he said in a surprisingly soft voice as he stared at me, ignoring my hand. The contrast between his grave tone and his grinning face was disconcerting. "But that's not your real name. I prefer to address you by that." "That name is gone. Call me the Joker if you wish to have any meaningful communication with me." I was reluctant to do that. The patient's Joker persona appeared to be the axis upon which his criminal career turned. I did not want to reinforce that persona, yet I had to communicate with him. I had little choice but to heed this demand. "Very well, Mr. Joker. Joker." I thrust out my hand again. "Joker, I'm Dr. Lewis. I'll be handling your therapy." He ignored my hand and appeared suddenly agitated. "When did you arrive? I've never seen you before. Where is Dr. Hills? Why isn't he treating me?" "Dr. Hills sent me. I'm new to the staff since your last escape." I could read fury in his eyes, but the grin never wavered. "I want the head man. I always get the head man. I deserve it. I'm not just another petty crook, you know. I'm the Joker. I'm the king of crime in this burg, and I want Dr. Hills." Grandiosity and entitlement. I considered adding narcissistic personality disorder to my list of diagnoses. I shrugged and tried to be disarming. "Sorry, Joker. He sent me in his place. Looks like we're stuck with each other." Suddenly he relaxed. "Okay." Emotional liability. For the 3rd time I stuck out my hand, this time to the accompaniment of small clinks from the chains on his monocles. He took it. As we shook, I heard a buzz and felt a sting in my palm. I cried out in surprise and snatched my hand away. The Joker began to laugh. That laugh. His speaking voice had been so soft, almost soothing. But the laugh, a broken, high-pitched keen that makes the small hairs rise. The guards leaped forward and thrust him into the chair. He laughed like a maniac as they ripped something from one of his fingers. The older of the two guards handed it to me. Then they searched him for anything else he might be carrying. I stared at the object in my hand. A joy buzzer. A simple, corny, old-time practical joke. "He's clean, Doc," the older guard said as they finished their search. I stared at the buzzer. "He was supposed to be clean when you brought him in here." They said nothing but took up new positions, closer now, flanking him on each side. I held up the buzzer. "How did you get this?" "I had it sent in." "You can't just have things sent in. Inpatients are severely restricted as to possessions." "You mean other inpatients," he said. "I'm the Joker. What I want, I get. Security here is a joke." His eyes lit up. "Get it? A joke?" The guards looked uncomfortable as he laughed, and they deserved to. He should never have arrived at this interview carrying something like that. What if the prong had been poisoned? He seemed to read my mind. "On good, clean, harmless fun, Dr. Lewis. I'm as harmless as a pussycat." I gave him a level stare. "I believe Colin Whittier might take exception to that, if he could." The Joker snorted and waved a hand in dismissal. "Whittier! A fraud! A charlatan posing as an artist. He left his mark on the art world. Like acne. I put a finishing touch to his work. A match. Get it?" He began to laugh. "You murdered him." "No loss. He deserved to die. Destroyer of true art. The world is far better off without him." Complete lack of remorse or guilt. I remembered his latest atrocity so well. I joined the staff shortly after the Joker's last escape, and it wasn't too long thereafter that he raided an art gallery that was showing the work of an immensely talented young artist named Colin Whittier. The Joker pulled all of Whittier's work from the walls and burned the canvases in the center of the gallery floor. Then he replaced them with a collection of dark abstracts, each signed The Joker. The next morning, Whittier flew into a justifiable rage. He yanked all the Joker's paintings and ripped them to shreds, an eye for an eye. And that should have been that, but it wasn't. Whittier had been found in the gallery 2 days later, dead, murdered. But not by any means so simple as a bullet or a knife. No, his mouth and nose had been poured full of thick cream paint. And then he was nailed to the gallery wall within a large, ornate gilt frame. On the wall next to the corpse was written, "Colin Whittier, R.I.P., an artist who really threw himself into his work." The casual brutality of the crime still blew an icy wind through my soul whenever I thought of it. And the perpetrator was sitting not 3 feet away from me, grinning. I quietly admired Whittier's work for years. His paintings spoke to me. I'd even bid on 1 or 2 of his early works a few years ago, when they were still within reach, but lost out to deeper pockets. Now they were permanently out of reach. Well, at least they were posters. But when I thought of all the paintings he would never do, I felt a rage seep through my very soul. Stop! This was no good. I was becoming emotional. I couldn't allow that. I had to help this man, and I couldn't do it if I remained angry. I terminated the first session then and there.